So a couple of days before the horrible events in Minnesota hit, I made a tweet where I basically talked about the fact that there's a major problem in our society, which goes a lot deeper than the issue of politics and like race relations. It's a very fragile topic, obviously, but the issue is this, that we've collapsed this notion of society together with this notion of government into one piece when they're actually two different things, right? For example, when we're looking for fixes to racism, we are looking to government. When we want greater education, we want the government to fix it. If you go through most of history, how were those things addressed? Like Wilberforce fighting against slavery was primarily not seeking a political solution. Not that that's incorrect to have a political solution, as much as that's not it's like trying to fix a relationship problems by calling in the president of the United States and be like, hey president, my wife and I are having a fight. Like those are separate spheres, and by calling in the government, which is fine, what we're missing is the fact that there's a breakdown on the social level in our society. And what we need is to fix the social fabric that has always glued us together as a nation and has glued every society together. That's what holds every society, is not the government and the laws and like the political apparatus that like mandates or whatever, the FBI or the tax department or the IRS. Like that's not the glue that's holding us together. It's the songs we sing, okay? It's the movies we watch. It's the education system we all go through. It's the values we all believe in. And the problem is that's where the breaks been happening, the breakdowns happened in what I call the civil society, right? There's a civil society and there's the government. Those two things are not the same thing. And by collapsing them and saying that the civil society is the government, to fix relationship problems with my wife, we have to call in the FBI. To fix racism, we have to have like the Supreme Court tell people what to think. While you can do that, that's not going to fix it. And we've seen that. We've seen the fact that calling in the government to fix social ills is not always the most successful method. And we think, well, that's all there is, right? So all you can do is just pass better laws. But you're fighting, the battle you're having, the battle we are all having is within the heart, the invisible heart in there somewhere. It's not like here, like in a visible space, it's in here, it's in there. And the government has no reach inside there, right? Who has control and who has impact here and there in the heart? It is the values, the civil society, the people that I respect, the authority figures, the church, the schools, the education, the parents, my wife, my friends, the civil society. That is the person I'm going to listen to. Like I don't necessarily, or maybe I will, but maybe somebody else will not necessarily listen to the Supreme Court and say, well, because the Supreme Court justice said X, therefore I believe that. That doesn't convert from one to the other. But if my wife said I believe X, that will make it a good reason for me to at least consider that. Or my friends will say that. If my, the priest at my church will say that. If, when I was little, if my teacher said that, right? So that's where we have to have discussion is, number one, how do we address racism on that level? Not on the government level, which is fine, but like deeper than that, right? And then also to fix civil society on the civil level. Like how do we make it such that, as Dr. King said, people are judged on the basis of the character that they have, not on the color of their skin, number one. And number two, how do we avoid the riots that are happening in response to that? People are burning down like stores and businesses that are completely innocent. So both pieces of this have been broken. The police have been broken, and the rioters, the looters, like the gangsters are like completely unacceptable. Why are they there? Because the civil society is broken from that perspective. They feel like they are justified. They've got no authority figures, or the ones they do have don't prohibit this behavior, right? So, and then Trump says, "Oh, I'm gonna like shut down the looters." You can arrest people if you want, but that's not fixing the heart. Like, you've got to understand the breakdown has happened in the heart of the people, both in the racists on the police force and in the violent looters that are destroying Minneapolis right now, like burning down the city, right? And like looting things just because they feel like the chaos is enabling them to just take things for free and destroy everything under the cover of like, a righteous protest, right? Why are they allowing themselves to do that? Or why are people around them allowing the looters and the violence to happen? Because they think it's permissible. The civil society has broken down in Minneapolis. It's very simple. That's what's happened. So the way to fix these social ills is not through legislation primarily, as the number one resolution, answer, fix. The number one answer is always going to be fixing the heart, fixing the head, and that always has to be by recognizing that alongside government exists a civil society, and we have to make a stand there. All of us have to fix the glue that's holding us together, hold accountable the police when they transgress, hold accountable the looters when they, kill and pillage, hold accountable people that basically seek to destroy and lift up people that are seeking to build up and protect. Also, I can't claim to have all the context in the conversation, so if I miss something important, please forgive me for not knowing all the facts. I'm just having a very, small layman's perspective, so I can't claim to be comprehensive and capture all the nuances. It's just one man's point of view, which is possibly quite limited from the facts perspective. But that's my 2 cents.